If you've just gotten Fallout Wasteland Warfare and you're itching to get it to the table but have no idea where to start, in this video I'm going to show you the basic things you'll need to know so that by the end of the video you'll be able to set up and play your first game. So one of the first things you'll want to do is actually put together your force, whether they be Minutemen, a band of raiders, or even a squad of NCR troopers. Like most war games, every unit, every item, every weapon has a value, and in Wasteland Warfare these are measured in caps. Now you won't find the caps value in any of your game books. Instead, for up-to-date values, you'll need to check the modiphius website, and I'll link exactly where you need to go in the video description, or you can check out the app, which saves you having to fill out your table with cards. Just so you're aware though, a regularly sized force would have a 750 cap total, a small force would be 500, and a large force would be 1,000 caps and above. There's no hard and fast rules on it though, just pick a total between you and the person you're playing with and make sure you don't exceed it. There are other rules you should know about building your forces, but this video is just about giving you enough info to get you started. So the only other thing that I want you to know about at this point are leaders. Now, to be eligible to be a leader for your force, the character must be a single model unit. To clarify even further, there can only be one of them in your forces. Now, leaders are important because they get some extra perks, and once chosen, you'll take a card from the leader deck and add this to their unit card. Now, some of the perks and bonuses solely apply to the leader character, but sometimes you can find leader cards that will apply to an entire faction. Speaking of factions, you'll know that in the world of Fallout, you've got some really colourful groups and factions like Super Mutants, Survivors, and Minutemen. And these factions also have their own added bonuses or hindrances, and you equally won't find them in your rulebook. To find them, check the video description, I'll link you to them, or check the app. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed at this point though, don't worry, play a few games. You can always start adding faction cards later, and that's what I did, just to make it a little bit more manageable. The final thing you need to know about force setup are heroic units. A single model unit can be a heroic version of that unit. Now, only heroic units can take advantage of things like critical attacks and luck, and to show this, you'll just add the little heroic card to your character card, but again, if this is too much for your first game, don't worry about it. If you want to learn more later on, check out page 50 of the core rulebook that came with your core set and page 26 and 27 of the campaign handbook, and they'll explain it to you completely. Alright, so that's the basics of putting together your forces. Let's also assume that you've picked a scenario that you want to play, and there are quite a few that you can find in your campaign handbook and online that are both modiphius made and community made. At this point, you'll set up your game table as dictated by the scenario sheet and agree with the player you're playing with what would be impassable terrain, what terrain would block or wouldn't block line of sight, just so that you're all on the same page before the game begins. If you want to know more about those rules though, check out page 17 of the core rules book. Now next, we create the wasteland. This is super simple. Just take all of the unused item, danger, creature, stranger, and event cards, shuffle them separately, set them to the side unless otherwise dictated by the scenario, and that part is complete. Dead simple. At this point, you've now built your first force for the game, you've set up your first scenario, and you are ready to dive in. Well done. As you start playing though, you're likely going to have a ton of questions about skill tests, what all these icons mean on your dice. Don't worry, this video right here is going to explain all of that for you.